here's the schedule. Now, what I did was I looked at the schedule, and if you're in Canada, good news, it's all on CBC or Sportsnet, Sportsnet 1. It's all very easily found. In the States, not as much. So we'll go through each series and what we know so far. Vegas and LA, April 11th, 13th, 15th, 17th, 19th, 21st, 23rd. I think that's the only series. No, there's two series that follow the every second day. No, there's more than that. I thought they all had one day extra in between, but they don't. That's just pretty much the East, I guess. Anyways, they all start at 10 o'clock or 10:30, and they're all on NBC Sportsnet or Sports Network. So I'm used to saying Sportsnet when I see SN. NBC Sports Network in the States will cover the 5 games that have been confirmed. The games that haven't been confirmed, because of course we haven't got there yet. I find it weird that they've confirmed 5 in the LA Vegas series, and yet times for all of the other series are 4 games. So they know something we don't know. The fix is in. Yeah, that's what it is. I know. The nice thing with this one, and I put dots next to the home games for Vegas. The nice thing with this series is that it's on at the same time and it's on the same channel every day. San Jose and Anaheim, not so much. So April 12th, 14th, 16th, 18th, 20th, 22nd, and 24th. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. All these times are Eastern. It's easier to go with Eastern time than Pacific. I understand for people in Europe it's frustrating. Hey, for people on the West Coast it's frustrating too, but it's just easier to do this. A majority of your hockey watching fans for the NHL are going to be in the East Coast of the U.S. and Canada. So 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. But here's where it gets tricky. Game 1's on the USA Network. Game 2's on NBC Sports Network. Game 3's on CNBC. And Game 4's on the Golf Channel. Nashville's playing against Colorado. April 12th, 14th, 16th, 18th, 20th, 22nd, 24th. Here's where it gets tricky. If you're interested in both series, you're host. You got to go back and forth. You got to channel surf and hope you don't miss anything. 9:30 p.m. for Game 1. 3 p.m. for Game 2, which is noon Pacific. That one's on NBC. The other 3 confirmed so far are NBC Sports Network. 10 o'clock and 10 o'clock for the 16th and 18th games, which leaves you a half an hour separation between these 2 games. So again, if you want to watch both series, it's not going to happen. But compared to the regular season, these conflicts aren't as bad. The problem is, of course, compared to the regular season, every game matters. Winnipeg, Minnesota is on the 11th, 13th, 15th, 17th. If it goes to 5 games, there's 2 days in between games, and the 22nd or 20th, 22nd, and then there's 2 days in between Game 6 and 7. Game 7 being on the 25th. Notice, Game 7's in the series 23rd between Vegas and LA, 24th for both San Jose, Nashville, 25th for Winnipeg. So even though the Winnipeg series starts tomorrow night the same as the LA Vegas series, they have 2 extra days to get to Game 7. So a bit of a rest advantage, but again, it doesn't kick in until Game 5. So between now and Game 4, we've got nothing to complain about. From there, the complaints do start. And it does. And we look at it now, we go, it's no big deal. But it will be. There will be a team that gets worn down in the first round, and another team that has that extra day or 2 off, and maybe those maintenance days will help. But if you want to watch these games in the U.S., you got to go to CNBC for Game 1 of Winnipeg, Minnesota. The USA Network carries Games 2 and 3, and Game 4 is back on CNBC. Now we get over into the kind of trickier part of the schedule, somewhat, which is Washington and Columbus. April 12th, 7:30. Again, these times are Eastern. On the USA Network. April 15th is on NBC Sports Network. April 17th, NBC Sports Network, and April 19th, the USA Network. So very American-looking series on the USA Network. It's a marriage made in heaven, I guess. And again, it goes just every second day for those ones, other than the 2 days off in between games 1 and 2, which, you know, I don't know how this is going to change things down the road, but it's got to be nice at this time of year to get an extra day off. Just throwing that out there. Pittsburgh. NBC Sports Network's covering games 1 and 2 on April 11th, which is tomorrow, and the 13th. 7 p.m. for both. NBC carries the one on April 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And then 7 p.m., you've got the NBC Network on the 18th again. NBC Sports Network. 20th, 22nd, and 24th for games 5, 6, and 7 should they be required. Boston and Toronto, April 12th at 7 o'clock, NBC Sports Network. April 14th, NBC. April 16th, NBC Sports Network. And the 19th. So there's 2 days off in between games 3 and 4. They're all at 7 o'clock. And then the 21st, 23rd, and 25th. The first round ends at the latest on the 25th of April, which is exactly 2 weeks after it starts, which is your optimal time to end it. April 12th for Tampa and New Jersey. That'll be on the NHL Network. So keep that one in mind. April 14th, 3 p.m., which is 12 p.m. Pacific. NBC will be broadcasting that one. Any of the 3 o'clock games, they're all on the NBC network. Now, the tricky part is that nationwide, probably not. They're very picky about where they put their games and what exactly they're going to preempt in favor of hockey. Yeah, it's not usually nationwide that I've seen anyways. NBC, if I'm looking for an American feed of a hockey game, I don't usually get any NBC shows getting cut off in favor of hockey. So I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to be able to see that game too, because I'm not sure which regions are actually going to carry it. April 16th, CNBC. April 18th, this is on the Golf Network. And then Game 5 is on the 21st, so that's 2 days off in between Games 4 and 5. And then 23rd and 25th for Game 6 and 7. So that's why I did this. I did this just so you guys would get a look at where you can find them in the U.S. and what time they'll be on. So go ahead and use this as a reference going forward. And it's fun that this is here. It's fun that these are the matchups. I think all 8 matchups turned out really, really well. Yes, Florida finished 1 point ahead of Colorado. But I still think we got the best 16 teams, and I still think we got the best matchups in the first round. If you want a heated rivalry, and just for fun, if you're going to put these on another network because of the names of the teams, Kings and Knights, you can have that on the History Channel. Ducks and Sharks, that can go on Animal Planet. Predators and Avalanche, that sounds like 2 Ice Age teams to me, so that's got to go on National Geographic. Jets and Wild, well, that just sounds like it's something that has to go on the Action Network. Winnipeg and Columbus, again, it looks very, very...
That's so not Winnipeg.
Washington and Columbus, so again, that's got to go on C-SPAN. Pittsburgh and Philly, that goes on the Fight Network.
Fashion Network.
Boston and Toronto... Original 6, Bruins and Maple Leafs. Yeah, we'll put that on the Nature Channel because there's bears and Maple Leafs and that kind of thing. Lightning and Devils, we got to put that on Sci-Fi because you've got Lightning and Devils, which is 2 evil forces clashing together. That's just for kind of a fun thing. Let me know your picks in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Just happen upon this video. And thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.